All right, everybody, Sarcophagus coming out of the dock. It's the best thing, the greatest thing that we've ever looked forward to. Myself and the Twitch chat are ready. Watch this, clicking the button. Ooh, it's all golden and stuff. Almost looks like something Elvis from Lord of the Rings. Oh, there we go. Now the lights are on. It's a little different. Oh, isn't it beautiful? It's so big. Oh my God. Ooh, is it going to fit? Is it going to fit coming out of there? Look at it. Oh, the torpedo bay is apparently activated for this video shot. There she is, everybody. Rev's most hated specialty ship, live and in action. It's the Sarcophagus.
Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Sarcophagus, but first have to mention a couple of things. So with the passing of Miss Nichols, the game has, in my opinion, very kindly given away a free unlock of her. Obviously she was a trailblazer and an amazing actress in the original series and 6 of the movies. Well, the game has decided to help honor her. They're giving away an entire unlock of her to all players in the game, as well as activating a 24-hour bonus refinery that will wrap up at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the 2nd of August. So as of this video, you've got time to get it in now. This is all to honor the actress that has impacted so many people's lives and this game obviously directly. So I really appreciate them going forth and doing that, especially less than 24 hours after her family announced it yesterday. Other part is, let me know if anything needs to get adjusted. I'm using new camera here. Shout out to Winrider who set this up. And yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into the Sarcophagus, which many of you know that I am not the biggest fan of the Sarcophagus. You're going to probably hear a few reasons why, but in general, good ship. In fact, it can be used in a variety of ways. Now, see, I can't even say it with a straight face. Okay, I don't think it's a good ship. I think it's crap. I do think that it's helped, time with some of the new officers, and there are some uses for it. And specifically, and I know DJ loves this, the cloaking has made it a little bit better, but I'm still not a huge fan. I will say that I love all Klingon ships, so I guess naturally I do kind of like it to an extent. And the model is really well done and looks great in your space dock. And thankfully, it looks great in space because it didn't come out with the G5 ships that all look terrible in space for whatever reason. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go over PvP crews, we'll go over upgrades, but for this part, I'm actually going to go through upgrades. And by that, I mean, you're going to watch me do it. I'm going to speed through this process and give you a visual of what it costs to upgrade it. Do note, there are 3 locks for this in terms of level locks. So level 34 to get the uncommon memorial flag, level 37, and then level 41. So you can't max it out until you're in the 40s. Now, that's not necessarily the worst thing, I guess. And if you're curious how that you can actually go through the upgrade processes, you go to your territory tab, and if your alliance activates it, then you go and you can go and get your Baconite, which you're going to need for things like repairs. And then you can go and bring in your Duranium Forge for upgrades. And then you're going to get those memorial flags, which, remember, got to have those services activated. But I'll go ahead and claim all 3 of mine, and there we go. I've got them and I'm good to go. So we're going to start the upgrade process, and then we'll go into a little bit more detail about the Sarcophagus. Good? Good. Start upgrading. Yeah. Whee! All right, so you've seen me go through the upgrade process. I got it to about tier 6.5, which is decent, I guess. And when it comes to Sarcophagus, there's 2 things that make it good / bad. And what makes it durable is the fact that if you look at the hull health See that health number right over here? That's a very high amount for, you know, a tier 6.5 ship. To give you a comparison, actually look over here. Whew, really high. Anyway, the advantage to that is like compared to say my Enterprise, which is just kind of sitting here. I've got no crew on the Enterprise. This is a max Enterprise. This is as big as it gets as an Epic. And you can see power wise, very similar. Obviously the Enterprise is gonna be stronger, but whole health wise, you're going to have a lot more in the Sarc. So what that means is outside of using it in territory, because it's designed to fight in territory. It's really its only purpose. You can use it as a base defense ship just so it can soak up more shots because it can get a lot of hull health. Now, the weapons are really terrible and only really, as I said, effective on nodes. Now, remember, attacking nodes and defending nodes will give you the bonus that you see right here. So it is worth using, it is good, that's good. But you do want to make sure you keep that in mind. You don't want to be attacking with the Sarcophagus off a node. Now this is where the cloaking comes in handy, because cloaking can help you get you to the node more securely, and thus when you secure the node, it's harder to push you off of it. Now let's talk about the firing pattern for the Sarcophagus, which actually makes it, this firing pattern I love. I wish it was on a couple other ships, but I love this firing pattern for early fights. What I mean by that is you can put out a lot of damage with the Sarcophagus early on, and you can use a variety of crews to do that. Now the firing pattern, which you see on the screen, it has 4 weapons in total, 2 kinetic and then 2 of the isogenic cannons, which are energy weapons. Now the kinetic weapons in round 1 fire 4 times each. So this means that with your initial run, you can hit an opponent theoretically in the first 2 rounds. You know, you can hit 10 shots round 1, but you can copy and paste with an officer like Huron, we'll look at in a second, into round 2. You can get a significant amount of damage dealt to a player, but it depends on where you're at and what's hitting you. So a generic crew that you can have, almost everybody should have Harrison at this point if you've played for a while. If you're a newer player, you don't. I will try to give you some crews that do not include Harrison, but as an example, on my screen, I've got this crew, which is Kang as captain, Honor Guard Worf, and Harrison. So 2 newer / harder to procure cards in Honor Guard Worf and Harrison. You get Honor Guard Worf every single day. Or every time you can pull the Amalgam Refiner, you'll slowly acquisition that. And then they've been more generous with Harrison, not only with this flash pass that we just completed, but if you remember in the month of June, there was an SMS that gave away 10 shards. So this year, most free-to-play should have been able to unlock Harrison, even if it's tier 1. The good news is that's fine. Tier 1 is completely okay. So the purpose of this crew in particular is you're going for, 1, you like having the bonus to piercing. It improves, you know, your ability to attack an opponent in terms of the mitigation value that that opponent will have. And then Tahar Master giving you a chance of hull breach. This is a very quick oriented crew, but you can make a slight change to this crew and go, I guess you would say, a step further. So let's sort by name, and I'm going to put Huron on here. Now, if you do not have Huron, don't worry, we are going to focus on other crews, but I'm putting Huron on there because honestly, this is one of the best crews for a Sarcophagus on a node because of how it works. Remember, Huron, no negotiations, 50% chance of automatically recharging all kinetic on the first round. And what that does is, so if you fire 4 and 4, that means round 2, you're going to do it again. Now keep in mind that this pushes your firing pattern. So like round 3, where you would have 4-4, it actually move, I'm sorry, round 4, where you would have the kinetics to fire again, they actually won't fire to the 5th. What that means is round 1, 4 each, so 8 kinetic shots, then round 2, 8 kinetic shots, but then your kinetic won't fire again until round 5. That's how Huron works. So this crew is designed to hit you as hard as possible and win in 2 rounds. If it doesn't win in 2 rounds, well, that's all she wrote. It's over, you're probably going to die, but you probably put out significant damage. I think at the end of the day, that is kind of the goal for a lot of players. Just deal as much damage as possible. And if you win, you win. If you don't, you don't. Now there are crews that don't involve using Huron, Honor Guard Harrison, but I will tell you, they're going to not be as good sometimes. Now, we can change it up a little bit. Let's say the Honor Guard Worf one is the one that you don't have. Okay, no big deal. So we're going to keep Huron, because Huron's great. We'll keep Harrison, remember, because we're fighting for those early battles. But we're going to scroll down our bar down here, get Harry Mudd, place him right there. Why? 30% chance to double the shots of all combats on the ship first round. Yep, it can work like that, and yeah, you can do it. So Mud a little bit easier to source than Honor Guard Wharf at this time for most players. I'm trying to give y'all some range and how you load out. But let's say you just don't have any of that. Fine. So we're going to actually do a group. We're going to get Marcus up here. We're going to get Yuki right here. And then we're going to go back and get a critical officer. Now, if you have Honor Guard Wharf, you're going to want to use Honor Guard Wharf. It's just, when it comes to criticals, he's your guy. He's the best PvP critical officer in the game. So this is a more generic run that is more accessible to the average player. Yuki Marcus means a 15% shield strip. Remember, the thing with the Sarcophagus is lots of hull health, so in theory should be able to survive. Throwing Tendy on there underneath is a great idea, giving you even more hull health for the Sarcophagus. And then giving you just a generic PvP crew. Now there's a ton of these. I mean, we've got Lorca and Tilly that we can run. There's a ton of combinations we can use with Harrison and other officers. 5 of 10 to increase your mitigation. Sorry, 5 of 11. I don't know if I ever get used to calling her 5 of 10. Lots of different crews that we can run here to change it up. Now this ship also, because of the level locks, limits how high you can get. You can't actually max it to tier 12 until level 41. Now what I'm going to do at this time is throw on the screen, even though we mentioned it earlier, I'll throw the TCOs up, so the total cost as well as varied cost. So what it costs to get to tier 7, what it costs to max out, etc. You can see these on the screen. The Sarcophagus plays a role. My issue with it is so niche that it can be difficult to justify dumping a lot of resources into it because it has to be on a node to have success, and you've got to be really active in territories. But there are people who use this effectively across all the servers in the game. I do also want to point out that the overall cost of this is not ridiculously high in terms of uncommon for it being a 12 tier ship. It's also important to note that relatively speaking, the repair costs on it are pretty low compared to like another 4-star ship like a Valdor or a Pylum or a Katinga. Repair costs are much lower on the Sarcophagus. And to max out the Sarcophagus is going to cost you 40.8k or 3-star. That's it. The only 4-star you end up needing is battleship parts. That's a pretty good value unless you're building an auger, which ruins you. Now, if you're building an Enterprise, cool. Just as reference, the Enterprise costs 50,000 uncommon 3-star gas. So it's cheaper in terms of total commons than an epic ship. But remember, it is a very, very niche. And it's really easy to pick it off because the firing pattern that makes it good also is a double-edged sword. Because it doesn't fire heavily except every 3 rounds, you really struggle to put a lot of damage down. You're going to put a heavy blow down in the beginning, but then you've got 3 rounds where you basically just got to suck damage until you can hit hard again. It's a similar problem to the Saladin, except the Saladin is not limited to being on a node. That's the thing here. If you look at the details of the Sarcophagus, the attack damage per round is abysmal. It's only because of the ship ability that it becomes good on nodes, whether attacking or defending nodes in territory space. That's the only time that it becomes really effective. Now, it still can be used as a tank, as I talked about, in base defense. You can use it to soak up a ton of shots. But between all these crews I've shown you on the video, and between the various upgrade points, you now know about the Sarcophagus, how to use it, and what to go about doing with it should you procure her. And I will reiterate, one thing that makes it better is the cloaking. DJ loves the cloaking on the Sarcophagus. I will say that yes, the Sarcophagus cloaking does help if you can get the cloaking or if you want to buy the cloaking. The reason being is look at the bonus on it. But once again, still very niche in how it can be used, but you now see it. You know, I got 130,000 bonus here. That's a nice little boost to it. I mean, it's not doubling, but it's still pretty good. So as you get through the cloaking and, you know, making it easier to get to node, giving you a nice damage boost as well, I think as a whole, solid ship. It's gotten a little bit better in time thanks to different things like upgrades and officers. But overall, there you go. There's everything you need to know. Live long and prosper. Stay safe with the Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. Catch you on the next video. Thanks for giving me your time. And if you have any questions, comments, leave them down in the comment section below. Oh, and one more thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And also,
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.